Previously on the recap sequence.
On this episode of the recap sequence, our East Coast Comic Expo 10th Anniversary Celebration Series comes to a close with ECCE guests Janet Hetherington, Jay Torres, Devin Taylor, Jared Lutes, and ECCE's very own Brent O'Hara. Enjoy the show.
I'm super excited to welcome Janet Hetherington to the couch, if you will.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you. This is a great show, East Coast Comic Expo. It's the first time I've been here. People are so welcoming. The people that are organizing the show, the people that have come to the expo, everybody, it's just been so great, and I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Obviously, you've had a busy day then last night and today.
Yes.
Is this your first time in Moncton?
It is the first time in Moncton, and I've got to say, I have experienced the magnetic hill. This was so funny. One of our friends is another comic book artist, Jeff Isherwood, who you may know.
Yes.
He did work with Conan and Doctor Strange, and he was so kind enough to drive us to the airport so we could fly here. And he was texting me and he was saying, "Did you go to Magnetic Hill? Did you go to?" And now I can say, yes, we did. And we went to the Magnetic Hill Zoo. But I've got to say, the animals did not stick together like magnets. We're actually, it's a beautiful zoo. And the animals were spread out and had a wonderful sanctuary there. And it was so much fun to do that, to see those things in addition to the expo.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, hopefully you'll get a chance to see a little bit more, experience a little bit more of the maritime hospitality here before you go home.
Thank you.
Do you do a lot of conventions nowadays?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've sort of scaled back. I should clarify that my partner, my boyfriend, is Ron Sutton, who's a comic book artist. Like, he is the comic book artist in the family, really. I'm primarily a writer, although I do draw as well. But to your point about the comic book conventions, we've sort of scaled back a little bit. We used to do the Toronto Fan Expo show every year, and it's gotten so big. We sort of said, okay, we're going to stick to shows that are a little closer to home. So we do the Ottawa Comic Con. We did the Capital Comic Book Convention, which is in Ottawa as well. We obviously we're here, but we were invited, and it was very exciting. Yes, it's more far afield, but it's new, and we're meeting new folks, and it's so much fun to introduce your work to new people. So yeah, we're sort of scaling back the conventions. The Ottawa Comic Con is coming up in the fall, so we'll be doing that one, I'm sure, and then if we do get invited elsewhere, then we will consider it. But it's Ron really likes to work in his studio. You know, he's got everything set up the way he likes it. And I have an office where I work as well, and it's upstairs. We have a townhouse, and it's upstairs, and so that's where I write, because I am primarily a writer.
So how did you get into writing then?
Well, I always wanted to write. I mean, even as a kid, I was always creating stories. I actually wrote and drew comics when I was a kid, but I said to myself, okay, I want to be a writer, and I want to get paid. So how do I do that? And so I went to journalism school. I went to Carleton University, and I got my Bachelor of Journalism. And I always like to say that I followed in the footsteps of Lois Lane, because she was my inspiration. Well, I love all the DC titles when I was growing up. And but Lois Lane, it was so cool. She worked for the great Metropolis newspaper. She had a Superman for a boyfriend, and she got to go on all these great adventures. So, hey, that's for me, you know.
That is fantastic. Have you ever been offered the option to write a Lois Lane story?
No, I have not, but I'd love to do that someday. For my own comics, it was funny because I never really saw... just to dial it back a little bit, because I had my degree in journalism. I was actually working in journalism. I was doing a lot of comics reporting, actually. I wrote for Amazing Heroes and Hero and Combo and anybody would pay me, basically. Animation Magazine, Animation World Network, VFX.com. Those were all places where I was writing basically nonfiction. But I still loved comics. And at one point, well, actually, after Ron and I were together, he noticed, I like to write and draw. And he encouraged me to do my own comics. And I never saw my name in the pages. Like when I was growing up, and you'd open something up and you'd see the names of the people that worked on the comics. I didn't see women's names there a lot of times. I never saw that as a career path for myself. But Ron was very encouraging, so I actually put out, wrote, drew, and self-published a comic called Eternal Romance, and that's back in 1997. And I started going to conventions. Well, I'd actually already been going to conventions. I was a big old nerd. I did everything. I used to do the costume competition. I'd go to all the panels. I really love conventions. But this time I had something to go and to exhibit, my Eternal Romance. And I only did 4 issues.
Yeah.
But what happened, it became a little bit of a calling card. When I had the opportunity to meet with Ron's editor when he was drawing Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, I was able to pitch some stories. And it was funny because the editor was Richard Howell. He's a huge romance fan himself. And he knew my comic. So it really helped me get in that door, You never know how these things are going to roll out. Over the years, I have written quite a few stories. I wrote Elvira for 6 years, which was lovely. And Cassandra Peterson is marvelous. And so that was a really fun job. And I've contributed to a lot of anthologies. Sometimes I just write. Sometimes I write and draw. But these days, of course, I've been concentrating on screenplays, writing movies.
Oh, wow.
And I've been able to work with a local Ottawa, because I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I work with director Brett Kelly, and he's produced all kinds of movies. You go to IMDb and you're blown away. But he loves genre stuff. Okay. So I've written 2 Westerns, a film noir, which was Murder in High Heels, and then Galaxy Warriors, which is a retro 80s style science fiction movie, which it's so much fun, and Brett has such a wonderful love of movies, and he brings that out in his own productions. So I've been really fortunate to be able to work on those things.
That's incredible, and it's interesting to hear you talk, because we talked to Ron earlier, and we asked him, if people, aspiring artists, come up to him and show him their portfolio work. Do you have people who come up to you, or if you do, asking, how do I become a writer? What advice or what do you tell them?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I don't have too many people come up to me and ask about being a writer. If they were going to do that, I'd say, obviously my path was I went to journalism school, and that really helped me, because I don't know, these days it's kind of crazy. It's a different path. You might be able to go, maybe if I had come up in a different era, I'd be doing more internet stuff, right? It might be a different path, but as far as conventions are concerned, I do get a lot of girls and women coming to me and asking about art.
Okay.
A lot of them especially love the manga style and whatnot. To me, it's all about the storytelling. It doesn't necessarily have to be the style of your art. It's the storytelling. And I guess that really applies to the writing as well. But I do encourage young women who want to pursue a career in comics or animation or whatever. There was a woman that I met at the Capitol Comic Book Convention, and I said, she really needed to do samples of sequential art. That's what if you're showing a portfolio, it's great to have wonderful stylized. Basically poses, but it's great to see the story. You have to, panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, panel 4, panel 5, panel 6. And it's like, where do you start? So I had actually, again, as I mentioned, Jeff Isherwood earlier, he had been teaching at Algonquin, and he needed a script to give to his students so they could actually work on their stories.
Okay.
Because sometimes you don't even know where to start.
Right.
So I wrote a 6-page story. It's a blue paladin. It's character doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to me, right? It's no copyright infringement here. And but it gave his students something to draw. And I said, look, give me your information, and I'll send you the script, and you can practice. And it's your interpretation of the script. I mean, you're going to learn how to do your thumbnails and your layouts and work. I know a lot of young people now, they work in digitally, but that's cool. I mean, you can do it however you need to do it, but you need to get that sequential storytelling, because that's what the employer is going to want to see.
Yeah. Well, look, Janet, this has been amazing to hear the process from you and your advice to these things. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to sit here and chat with us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the convention.
I'm sure it'll be wonderful. It's been wonderful so far.
And don't be a stranger. Come back anytime. If Ron wants to work, that's fine. Leave him in Ottawa. You come on back here.
He likes to talk too, so I'm sure he'd like to share whatever project he's working on. Believe me, yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, Jan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is David Yost, the original Mighty Morphin Blue Power Ranger, and you are listening to the recap sequence.
I'm with Jay Torres. I'm going to say welcome back, because I saw you. Oh, all right. 2 thumbs up for you there. Okay. Welcome back to East Coast Comic Expo. It was, I believe, pre-pandemic the last time you were here, was it not?
Yes, pre-pandemic. Oh my goodness. Definitely before this building. You guys only came out here after the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my kid is now, with me here is 14. I think he was maybe 2 at times, 3. Maybe.
Well, it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
How have
Good
you
to
been?
be back. Busy, thankfully. Writing comics and raising children, which is about the same thing, roughly. Same heartaches and joys. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I know you said the heartache first, but that's okay.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know where I was going with that.
What are you writing these days?
So there's a new Teen Titans Go series that has a rotating creative team, so I'm contributing to that. I believe it's at issue 4 as of this recording. My first issue is 6, and I did the Christmas one, which will be, I guess, November, December. Mm-hmm. What else? I'm working with my wife translating a couple of Korean comics and novels, 2 of the biggest in the world, I'm told. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint and Solo Leveling, which the anime, which just won some kind of award from IGN, I think. Was it IGN? I don't remember. Yeah, so that's keeping me busy. And launching in the fall, I've got a new kids graphic novel series called Paisley and Peck, about a couple of barnyard misfits. The pig is like fancy and wants to eat good food, and his biggest wish is to stay a night at a hotel and order room service. Right, high goals, and the chick, who's a rooster, is he discovers in this first graphic novel that birds or chickens were evolved from dinosaurs, so he wants to be a dinosaur when he grows up. So it's like a coming of age story about 2 people who just don't want to be kind of, limited or pegged into the world that that people are expecting them to be.
Are you on a full con schedule these days?
No. Because I'm old and I get tired easily. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Everyone else has, but I hurt my back yesterday. I can't even get out of a car without turning on my stomach and sliding out like a cadaver. But yeah, I'm okay. No worries. But no, mostly it's because, I don't have the energy and the bandwidth that I used to. I used to go to cons every other month. Mm-hmm. This is like when my kids were younger. And then, as they got a little bit older, I needed to be home more. And then now I'm old. I'm the older one. And I just don't have the energy to do it. unfortunately.
So you pick and well, we're glad you're here for the 10th
Yes,
anniversary.
I do pick and choose. I prefer to stay in Canada.
Yeah.
Crossing the border is a pain. So I'd rather stay in Canada if I can. And I might be doing Winnipeg. And I've been invited to Ottawa and I think to Montreal, so I'm not remembering exactly. And then I'm just outside Toronto, so whatever's going on in Toronto, whether it's TCAF or Fan Expo, I try to go. But yeah.
Did you get a lot of writing done during the pandemic?
I want to say yes and no.
Okay.
Because for me, it's kind of sad, but it wasn't any different in terms of where I was. Like, I stayed home anyway.
Right.
And the only difference was my kids were home most of the day. I don't go out much anyway, so it wasn't like there wasn't much of a difference for me. But the kids being home and my wife being home and being distracted by that, I probably should have been more productive. But I fell into the rabbit hole of Animal Crossing, and I don't even want to admit how many hours I clocked in that ridiculous game, which at the time felt like so important that I needed to get all the fish.
Yeah.
And get all the dinosaur bones or whatever it was. And now I was like, what was I doing? Like, imagine if I was doing push-ups that whole time instead. Or like on the treadmill. I'd be so jacked right now. But no, instead I have like a really nice island. A really nice island in a 100% accomplished museum or completed museum.
I wasn't expecting that at all, so that just, wow.
Neither was I. I mean, like, nobody knew what was going to happen during the pandemic. I had friends, like, posting their, workout videos, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should do that.
Did you start posting the videos of all the fish and the dinosaurs' bones?
No,
Okay.
but, see, I'm going to get even more embarrassed. But, like, I joined a Facebook group where people would trade stuff, and okay, we're done. Next topic.
All right. How is it coming back to, like, getting back into that convention circuit coming out of the pandemic? Like, I know people...
Frightening.
Really?
Because before I started getting back into it, friends would, and then people would come back reporting that they got COVID.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I'm not going to leave the house for another year. And actually, I don't even remember the first con I went to. Although we did, as soon as they let us, we went to the movies, and there'd be like 6 people in the theater, and 4 of them were me and my family. And as soon as they let us travel, we went out to Orlando because they had no restrictions or barely any restrictions in Florida. But in terms of, because you can, like, even if you go to like somewhere like Disney World, you can distance yourself from other people.
Yeah.
But when you go to a con, like,
It's...
yes. And all the surfaces too, like everyone's sharing, money and touching books and stuff. I think that's the bigger problem than the airborne stuff. But anyway, yeah.
So when you're coming back to these, are you pretty much recognized mostly for the Teen Titans Go?
Probably. I guess it depends. Like if I go to the TCAF, if I go to TCAF in Toronto, because there's a lot of like teachers, librarians, and that sort of, so they know my creator-owned graphic novels, and they may not be familiar with Teen Titans Go much.
Right.
A con like this, which is more pop culture, definitely the Scooby-Doo stuff, the Teen Titans Go stuff. So that's why I would push the other stuff more here, and at TCAF would be the opposite. And just let them know I've got this other stuff too.
You were involved, I believe, with True Patriot, were you not?
Yes, I was basically the head of the snake.
Are there any more coming? Because I loved both books. I thought that was just a
Thank
great
you.
idea.
We really appreciate that, but oh my God, it was so hard. Like, we did a Kickstarter. Was it Indiegogo first and then a Kickstarter? But just fulfilling it was so difficult for me. I don't know how people do it. My garage turned into like a fulfillment center for like a couple months there. And I had to recruit my poor wife to help me stuff envelopes and that sort of thing. Although we could have paid for a company to do it, but then we would have lost money. So I don't know. It was kind of one of those like perfect storm things when everybody was available and ready and everybody had a concept to go. Right? So I kind of put the word out amongst friends and people in the area and said, do you have a Canadian superhero concept? And almost everybody had something.
And just the collaborators you had on that was incredible. The art was amazing.
It's a pretty impressive lineup of
and to
talent,
do
for
2.
sure.
Not 1, but 2 books.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm just like, okay. People have asked me, especially just after we published those, but at that time, I definitely did not have the bandwidth. Now, I don't know.
Okay, so it's a never say
so
never.
It's never say never.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen, I know you. We're halfway through the day now, and you've got a Teen Titans Go panel coming up here in a bit. But 2 questions to ask you then. What do you tell people who come up to you and say, "How do I get into comics writing?" as a writer if I want to be?
I have the same kind of response all the time. It's basically write something.
Okay.
And because this is a visual medium, if you can't draw, you need to pair up with somebody or find a way to get the art produced and make something. So back in my day, this is like during the time when we had to fax scripts. So that's how old I am. And then you'd have to wait for art. Even Marvel and DC operate this way. You'd have to wait for art to be delivered by FedEx to your door to ink and letter or whatever it is. And these days, everything's uploaded in an instant, right? Same goes for creating your own comic. Like we had to go to Kinko's and photocopy our little mini comic that we put out back in the day, and then go to stores and sell them, or go to conventions and sell them. These days, you can put up a web comic within, if you can put it together within a week, and then you've got an audience, hopefully. And then you can do a web comic for however long you need to, and then collect it into a book and print it out later. So I feel like the process, okay, maybe not the process, but the possibilities are or it's easier to make it happen these days than back in my day. But the hardest part is just putting the story together and getting the art together and putting it out there. Because if you don't put anything out there, no one's going to notice you. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to get any offers for work. You're not going to find an audience. You know what I mean? I hear people saying all the time, they tell other writers and artists, oh, you're an artist as soon as you make art. You're a writer as soon as you write a story. Sure, but if nobody reads or sees your art, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Last one, a couple weeks from now, Fantastic Four, Superman.
It has to be Superman.
All right.
It's a hard choice. It's like a Sophie's Choice of geeks, right? But I don't know about you guys, but that trailer made me cry. I've seen it, like the first one, I saw it 5 times, and probably 3 out of the 5 I was like, and my kids mock me, like, what's wrong with this guy? But they don't get it because they're too young to understand, right? And Fantastic Four, like, I don't know, Marvel's not batting 1,000 right now, so I'm kind of have my iffy feelings and doubts about it. I want it to succeed, but...
Well, I can say now that it's now 3-3 since we started doing our interviews this morning with our guests.
It makes sense to me. What about the audience? Superman or...
Superman.
Yeah.
2, Superman. Okay, 1.
Yeah, get out. No,
Superman, 3.
But I think people are rooting for DC to do good.
3-2 for... Well, it's James Gunn.
True, this is true, yes.
And we mentioned earlier he did Guardians, and that was just,
Right.
enough said. So.
That was a game changer for sure, for the MCU at least.
Jay Torres, thank you so much, man. This has been a riot talking to you.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
very much for taking the time. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
I know you're going next door here now to do a Teen Titans Go panel.
Right.
Don't be a stranger. Come back again.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
The recap sequence will return after these messages.
Hey, this is Jamie,
And this is Ryan.
and we're the Recap Sequence.
Be sure to tune in to us every Wednesday night on CHSR 97.9 FM or online at chsrfm.ca at 7 p.m. Atlantic, 6 p.m. Eastern.
And if you don't catch us live, you can catch our podcast on Spotify, on Amazon, anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And we also have a YouTube channel you may have been watching. And if not, you should be. Catch us on YouTube at Recap Sequence.
And subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah, please.
We now return to the recap sequence.
Hey guys, it's Ryan here. I am in the podcast room. This is our final interview of the day, and it's super exciting because, Devin, we had you on last year.
Yes, sir.
We were talking to you about your work that you were doing and everything, and you brought up at one point that you were working on a comic book, which the whole concept sounded amazing. We couldn't wait to see it, and lo and behold, I find out yesterday, thanks to Facebook, here it is, the Cape Cadaver is out. It is now, how cool is it, man, to be able to hold this in your hands?
It's pretty cool. It's been a while. I've had it finished for a long, long time, and finally was just decided to get it printed, and yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Well, I like the tagline, if I could. He's not a zombie, he just looks like one.
That's right. I just wanted to establish that it's not really a zombie book.
This is great. How's the con treating you guys, by the way? Welcome to East Coast Comic Expo.
It's great. It's great at our hometown. Nice to be here. We've been traveling a lot recently, but it's nice to be back.
And for the 10th anniversary as well.
Yeah.
Are you guys getting to a lot of other conventions right now?
Yeah, I was in Yarmouth a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And Miramichi last month at Miracon. That was fun.
Are you getting to do a lot of shows as well?
This is my first one with the new book, so I haven't been doing as many because I haven't had anything to show off.
It's really. I'm going to call you out on that because I saw the rest of your table. The Venom print that you had on there, the Joker print behind it there. That's some pretty sweet stuff you've got going.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Except I'm not allowed to spend anymore because my wife has cut me off on that, my spending for the day. I was waiting when I saw this, I was like, I need a little bit more, so where we go. The other thing we found out as well is when we were talking to you, Devin, is you started talking to us about a game, and we have it here on the table. Tell us about Famous.
I'll let Jared take it because it's really his baby. I'm just the artist. I should really just chime in every now and then with, I did the artwork.
Yeah. Well, he brought it to life, Devin. But this has been kind of a passion project for a couple years. I was a musician for a long time, and I kind of damaged my voice a few years ago, and then COVID hit. So then I kind of reassessed my path, and I had to pivot back into teaching, and I do trivia nights in town instead of music on the road, which it's nicer to be closer to home. But then we've been playing games. I've been playing games with my kids for 10 years. So I got the idea all of a sudden one day, like, I think I could do this. I think I could make something, a game that we enjoy playing, like all my favorite parts of our favorite games. So I took my experience from the music business, and I thought, I'm going to make something thematic. Like this game is going to make sense musically.
Okay.
So everything that happens in the game is thematic and musical and realistic and intuitive. So, and it's easy to get into because.
What's the premise then?
Well, you're a small town band. You pick one of your garage, the rock band or the country band, and you're trying to recruit musicians.
Right.
You're trying to match the musician styles and their personalities, and you're doing gigs for cash. Local gigs, local dives, while you're also trying to balance writing songs for the recording at the end. And you slowly move up the fame track, one star at a time. And by the end of the game, whoever's the most famous will win. And it's pretty close. Each game is pretty close, like within a few points. Took a lot of balancing, a lot of testing.
So how long was this in the creative process? Did this take to put this all together? And how did Devin come in and get tied into this?
Well, I probably got the idea, in the shower a couple years ago, and I'm like starting to dream up, what could I put together, and then, I had most of the prototype done, and my rough sketches done, and I'm like, man, we need an artist. So we looked around and we networked a little bit and got a recommendation. And it turns out Devin and Cindy live 2 houses down on our street. So I'm like, oh, that's fate. That's destiny. So we contacted them right away. And Devin's been working his butt off because there must be 300 individual pieces in that game, characters and objects and items and graphics. So it's really been a joint effort.
Yeah. Well,
for a couple
he
years.
did most of the hard work is done with the, there's way more math than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And, we went over and we played the game a couple of times and we really enjoyed it. So it was pretty easy to get into something that you already like. So, yeah, and I did the artwork, so.
So I'm curious then, who's more famous then between you two after you've played it?
Oh, who wins more often?
Oh, it's him.
Yeah. I have a slight advantage. I know the ins and outs of the game. I don't always win it, but.
Now, is ECCE the first time it's being displayed out here, or was it at YCon, or?
It was at YCon.
Yeah.
Yep. And Miracon. So it's been out. It's been in this form for 3 weeks.
How cool was it for you when you finally got the first one?
Oh, it was surreal. I didn't want to open it. I couldn't open the box. I had to wait for my kids to get home to open it for me.
That's
I
actually
was
the
that
box
nervous.
right there.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? That's the.
No, I still haven't opened it.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, the same for Devin. When you finally get this in your hands, how good is that feeling?
It's pretty good because you know how much kind of work goes into it, and just to see it kind of distilled down into this little thing that is, I hesitate to use the word perfect, but in my heart it is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no question about that. I mean, I'm looking at the art's incredible in here. I mean, you gave us the concept when we talked to you a year ago, and both of us were like, let us know when this is happening because we want one.
Yeah.
And literally, we each have one today. So I mean, that's pretty cool to be able to come to this event like this and be able to, showcase your work like this.
Yeah, it's a kind of a dream come true to have a comic that I made my own, and let me say, like, when I say perfect, I mean, it's sentimental
Yeah,
value. It's
absolutely.
perfect, and it's sentimentality, but I'm sure there's imperfections that people can find.
Yeah. And I believe you also had a hand on Tara Odeber's project that was aired today, didn't you?
Yeah, I did storyboards for a little under half of it.
Okay.
So yeah.
She was talking about, we talked to her this morning.
Yeah.
I do have to say, though, because you guys, being our last interview, brought the biggest crowd in. It slowly grew as the day went. So, I mean, obviously, you're doing something right if you've got Famous here and then Cape Cadaver. So, if people are watching this later on after the convention's over and everything, where can they find that? Where can they find you?
On my website, electricloot.com. It's available on the website. But it'll be in town, too. There's a couple of retailers that said they would carry it for me in Moncton.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm looking at distribution, so maybe wider distribution in a few months. But, yeah.
And Devin, where can they find you?
Well, I'm planning on having some copies available at the Comic Hunter,
Nice.
Their different locations. And, I'm still kind of working out the whole distribution side of that, too. So
It's the fun part now, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, is this it for a convention circuit for you guys for the year, or will you be going anywhere else?
I've got a couple more booked. I'm going to HalCon later in November, and then there's AEX. AEX is in St. John
Right.
next month. Yeah. So I thought I'd hit the circuit hard this year, and while it's still fresh and new.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Last question for you guys. As we a couple weeks out, Fantastic Four or Superman? I'm starting with you, Devin.
I gotta say, I'm pretty excited to see Superman.
Okay?
Oh yeah, the new Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
or
yeah.
the Fantastic Four movie.
No, I'm Superman.
Well, we
all
can
the way.
we can officially say that Superman won the day today then,
Yeah.
because we were polling all of our guests as we went, and Superman wins 7-5, or excuse me, 5-3.
Oh yeah.
So everyone's excited about the new Superman there. So
Yeah.
yeah. Listen, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us. Congratulations to both of you on Cape Cadaver and Famous. It's really cool for us, when we talked to Devin a year ago, and he's talking about these things, to actually see them come. I mean, I know it's doubly exciting for you guys to actually be able to hold it, but for us to be able to see the product right there and go, you know what, that's actually pretty cool for these to come to light. So congratulations to both of you on that, and the work that you did with Tara's project as well. So keep us in the loop. Anything else you guys coming up, we'd love to have you guys on.
Okay.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you very much. And to our incredibly big audience now,
Yeah.
of there. So thank you guys for being a part of this, and thanks for being a part of the 10th anniversary of ECCE. So it's kind of nice to be on the other side of the table, isn't it, as opposed to being a fan walking around.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, this is Laura Vandervoort, Elena Michaels from Bidden, and you are listening to the recap sequence with Jamie and Ryan.
Hey guys, it's Ryan here at the East Coast Comic Expo. We got the gaming area behind me, and of course, it's tradition now with us to be talking to our Marvel Senior Cinematic Movie Correspondent, Mr. Brent O'Hara. How are you, sir?
Doing okay. How are you guys doing? How are you enjoying the show?
What a day.
Yeah.
What a day this has been. It has been a lot of fun. Doing the podcast room this year was a little different for us, but it was really neat. Talked to some amazing people here, and that's a testament to you guys and the amazing guests you bring into this event.
Well, we did have a great number of guests this year, and we're really pleased to have you guys come down and participate in the interview process with our guests in maybe a more official manner, I guess.
And relaxed manner.
But in a relaxed manner.
Yeah.
You guys have the couches in there, so really looking forward to getting to see what you guys. Your chats with the crew in there, so looking forward to the video stuff that you have.
And I gotta tell you, my hat is off to you and Derek and the whole team for what you guys have pulled off. And I'm sorry, the Dark Coast toy box thing, what a nice touch.
Man, I was so excited. James Dixon's cover to that book, Dark Coast, the Maritime Horror Anthology with all of the East Coast creators. I've been excited for that, even from seeing that cover, just months and months ago.
Yeah.
But now I finally get my own copy of number 1 and copy of number 2. They have a number 3 that's coming out as well. But just the guys were doing a great job, and they have a nice centerpiece treatment in the middle kiosk there. But also, they were very gracious in letting us borrow the art to be our Friday the 13th spooky themed action figure backdrop for this year. So I was really excited to get to put that together, and Derek got that printed out, and we've got it up on the wall. And looks amazing.
It's absolutely stunning, and we saw it through pictures from like James, who he was standing in the box. We didn't know you guys had done that. We didn't know about the band. Everything looked amazing. We heard Friday night was another big success again for you guys this year.
Yeah, we're. I don't have any exact numbers or anything like that so far, but it has been been as busy or busier this year than I think ever.
That's phenomenal. I mean, that's also, it was great because you guys had changed dates. Normally everyone says, they're the first weekend of June. No, it's not. It's actually, it works so well coinciding with Friday the 13th.
Yes, it worked out that way this year, and we really took advantage of it, obviously, with our marketing and our social media. Had a lot of fun with that. And, things are a little bit, they're always a little bit flexible. We used to be the May long weekend. That was for us for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, when we came to the Coliseum here, this larger venue in Moncton, and really found a home here, the feedback that we've been getting is that this place is just right for our events, and so we've kept that. And so we've been adapting the dates a little bit and finding. So here we've had ourselves a really good weekend, a good turnout, a lot of smiling, happy faces, lots of happy creators and vendors, and there's a lot of fun going on here at the East Coast Comic Expo this weekend of Friday the 13th and 14th.
And as we say this, we got the gaming area behind it. It's been packed since the doors opened at 9 o'clock this morning. And it's phenomenal just to see what, like, this whole area, gaming, gaming.
Yeah, a full room section of the arena devoted to the gaming, like they've been at it, like you said, they've been here since first thing this morning. They were here last evening as well, having a great time, just really enjoying the atmosphere, the tournaments, and so this becomes another fun thing that we have added to the East Coast Comic Expo. And we're growing each year with new fun things going on at the show.
We've had a chance today to interview a lot of people, some brand new to the con, which was a lot of fun because some have never been to Moncton before, and others who were referring to them as staples of the event, like Sandy Carruthers and Nick Bradshaw, and both new and returning guests have just said what an amazing experience you guys put on here. with your group?
Well, you know what? Thank you, and I'm really happy to hear that feedback. And we get that feedback every year, and that there's something, that very at home that the creators and guests and people come here. They're really happy. Really excited to have this experience here in Moncton. And I think the guests feel that, and they feel really welcome and a part of this whole experience, and it's a great experience. And this being our 10th year, our 10th anniversary show, it just sort of puts a cap on, hey, this is something special going on here in the East Coast with all the amazing talents and creators that we have right here, and that we get to highlight that is. Like I've said with you guys all the time, this is a really great part of what the East Coast Comic Expo gets to do, for our community, our area, our region. So that's great. It's a great part of it.
And it is my duty as an interviewer with our Marvel Senior Cinematic Correspondent here to inform you that during our interviews today, we conducted a poll. As in a couple weeks, 2 very big movies come out. And Superman beat the Fantastic Four 5-3 as to who wanted to see it more.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. That's what's interesting about these 2 movies too, right? Because they are both. We've had versions of the Fantastic Four. We've had versions of Superman, but a lot of audience members in both cases might be able to point to them and say, well, you know what? Maybe they didn't quite hit the heart of either of these and now Fantastic Four back at home at Marvel, so with the first family, and so now we get an MCU take on the Fantastic Four, and then we have Superman in James Gunn's hands now, where the last iteration, the Zack Snyder was a bit dark, now we've got a hopeful Superman again. So I think there's a lot of enthusiasm
and a lot of positive energy.
A lot of positive energy around both of these. But if you're asking me, I'm going to side a little more towards the Marvel side.
There
of
we
things,
go.
Just to keep that competition in the running.
So, guys, if you've never experienced East Coast Comic Expo, get your butts down here next June. Brent, thank you so much again for allowing us to come and do this. Thanks to you and your team for putting on this incredible show.
Thanks, guys. Really glad to have you here, and looking forward to seeing you guys and hoping you're a part of it and of the community from going forward.
We'll be talking to you in a couple of weeks after Fantastic Four comes out.
Sounds good.
Thanks for checking out our East Coast Comic Expo 10th Anniversary Celebration Series. We hope you enjoyed it. See you next year.